Today, we're going to talk about my hometown, Fort Lauderdale. So if you're here visiting pre or post cruise, or you're just here vacationing, I'm going to tell you where to go and what to do so that you'll have the best time ever. If that sounds interesting to you, please keep watching. Hello everyone, how are you today? I hope you are having a splendid day, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Kim and this is Freshly Squeezed Travels. I have lived in Fort Lauderdale for more than 25 years and I absolutely love it here. It has definitely changed though since I moved here. No longer is Fort Lauderdale the home of wet t-shirt contests and cheap beer. It is now a world-class city with fabulous beaches, amazing restaurants, great nightlife, entertainment, and culture. Before we dive in, if you like Florida travel videos, please give this a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I do lots of Florida travel videos and I would love to have you as part of my travel party. My first must-do in Fort Lauderdale is to have a drink at the oldest bar in town, and that is the Elbo Room. The Elbo Room has been around since the 1930s, and it was featured in the 1960s film Where the Boys Are. That was the film that kind of put Fort Lauderdale on the map when it came to spring break. Fortunately, we are no longer the spring break capital of the world, although we still do get our fair share of spring breakers. But if you've never been to Fort Lauderdale, a stop at the Elbo Room is an absolute must. It's right on the beach. It is pretty much a dive bar, but it is a great place to have a beer outside during the day, look at the ocean, and people watch. Anytime I have friends visiting us, a trip to the Elbo Room is always on our to-do list. The Elbo Room is a great touristy place to grab a drink, but what if you want something off the beaten path? Fort Lauderdale actually has several breweries in town, so if you are a beer connoisseur, you are going to want to check some of these out. Now, Funky Buddha is the most well-known brewery here in Fort Lauderdale, but there are many others, including Gulfstream, Lauder Ale, and Invasive Species. So they are definitely all worth checking out. Now, there's an area of town called Flagler Village, and this is kind of an up-and-coming area, and it's located right near downtown Fort Lauderdale. Flagler Village is a great place to go if you kind of want to get away from the beach and away from the tourists and really hang where the locals go. Flagler Village has restaurants, some cool bars, a couple breweries, some neat shops, and it is definitely worth a stop. Now, Flagler Village is more up and coming. It's kind of trendy. It leans more towards a younger crowd. But there is another area that you should definitely check out, and that is Los Olas Boulevard. And Los Olas is the most famous street in Fort Lauderdale, except for probably A1A. And Los Olas has shops, restaurants, bars. It is quite touristy, but locals go there too. It's a very cool spot to walk, shop, eat, and I'm going to tell you about a few of my favorite places. The first is Vino's. Vino's is an adorable wine bar, and if you have been watching my channel for a while, you know that I love wine. My husband and I often pop into Vino's to have a glass or two of wine and some charcuterie. They also have flatbreads, and they have live music sometimes in the evenings. It's a cozy, romantic spot, but it's also fun if you have a group of friends with you. Now, if you have to have Cuban food when you're visiting Fort Lauderdale, Los Olas does have a spot that you should check out, and that is Cuba Libre. Cuba Libre is a very large restaurant. It has a very large bar area. It's got good food and a very lively vibe. It has indoor and outdoor seating. And one thing I should mention is that almost all of the restaurants on Los Olas do offer outdoor seating too. So if it's nice weather, you can grab a bite outside and people watch. Another fun spot is Big City Tavern. Big City has a really interesting menu. They have everything from cheese boards to burgers to chicken wings to pizzas to pad thai. So there's a little something for everyone. They have a large bar and a great bar area, so you can usually grab a couple bar stools at the bar, but they also do take reservations on Open Table. And my favorite restaurant on Los Olas is Cafe Europa. Cafe Europa has the best Italian food, in my opinion, in Fort Lauderdale. It is very busy, but it is definitely worth the trip. They do not take reservations, but you can get lucky, possibly sit at the bar, or if you go at an off time, you can get a table. They also have absolutely delicious homemade desserts. So those are some of my top recommendations for Las Olas. Las Olas is just a great place to walk up and down, do a little window shopping, look in the stores, pop into a restaurant for a bite or a drink, get some ice cream. It's just a lot of fun. But as I said, Las Olas does get its fair share of tourists. But what if you want to go somewhere a little more local? Well, I have a couple recommendations for you. Fort Lauderdale has so many amazing bars, but one of my new favorites is called No Man's Land. No Man's Land is close to downtown. It's in a shopping center, and it is a speakeasy. It's got a very cool, eclectic vibe and a great craft cocktail menu. They also have a few appetizers that you can enjoy, but a couple doors down in the same shopping center is the best Cajun restaurant in Fort Lauderdale, and that is Shuck and Dive. So what I would do is I would go to Shuck and Dive for dinner and then go to No Man's Land for a post-dinner cocktail. So while we're talking about food, let's talk about brunch spots, and there are two that I'm going to recommend. The first is the Floridian, and the Floridian is on Las Olas, and it is a historic diner. It has been around since the 40s, I believe, and this is the place to go when you want omelets as big as your head. It's relatively inexpensive. It has a huge menu, and it is open 24/7. So you can also pop in there late night if you've had a few drinks and you just need something to eat. But my other brunch recommendation is a little bit more off the beaten path, and that is Foxy Brown. Foxy Brown has an amazing brunch. It only offers brunch on Saturdays and Sundays, but they do open up at 9:30 a.m. And my husband and I can be found there almost every Sunday. They have fabulous bacon Bloody Marys, grapefruit spritzes, mimosas, all the breakfast cocktails that you might enjoy. And they also have fabulous food. My husband and I both love their Banana Foster's pancakes. They also have homemade donut holes that they serve with cereal milk. And every weekend it's a different cereal. So it might be Frosted Flakes or Lucky Charms or Fruity Pebbles. And you dunk the homemade donut holes in the cereal milk, and it's really good. Now let's talk about some things to do while you're here. And the first is the water taxi. This is a must-do for anyone visiting Fort Lauderdale for the first time. The water taxi will take you to different areas of the city, and it will also take you to Hollywood so you can go to the Margaritaville Resort. You can just hop on and hop off the water taxi at your leisure. Day passes start at about $35, and this is just a wonderful way to see Fort Lauderdale on the water. Now, another unique way to see Fort Lauderdale by the water is to rent a tiki hut. These floating tiki huts are great if you have a group, you have a captain, you all get on, you bring your own alcohol, and you basically have your own party in a floating tiki hut. Another cool thing to do if you're here visiting with the group is to go axe throwing. Chops and Hops is a really cool bar where you can actually throw axes. I've been a few times with friends and had an amazing time. In fact, I will show a video right now of me hitting the bullseye. Well, not quite. So those are my top recommendations of things to see and things to do when you visit Fort Lauderdale. I will definitely be doing a follow-up video to this one because there is just too much to cover in one video. And I'm also going to be doing a video on the best hotels to stay at pre and post cruise. So be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss those. If you visited Fort Lauderdale, please leave a comment below and tell me your favorite places to go because I would love to read them. If you'd like to hang out with me a bit longer, I have picked out a couple more travel videos that I think you might like. And until next time, I hope you have happy and safe travels. Bye!